Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Isle of Ship, where we are setting sail towards a regular season, which will begin in 3 days, or maybe two if you are listening to this recording on Tuesday. The name is
Aye, Captain.
Brandon. I am one of the captains, setting sail with my co-captains, Mike and John. They're also from our team, by the way. Fun fact. How are we all doing, mateys?
Oh no! All right, it was
Not
an
bad,
animated
not
intro.
Hey,
Pretty
listen,
good. Comsies.
it's a nice and
Can't
personal
complain.
intro. You know, I'm a
I
waiter,
like it.
so I know how to bring some personality in here.
I like it. It's nautical. We're setting sail on the road to the Stanley Cup, or more realistically, playoff.
Beach here when we land on season shore, you know.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
So
So-
what is up? What is up, folks? What are we doing?
So
What are we
Thursday
doing?
is
How are we
opening
doing?
night.
Why are we doing?
We have a couple things to talk about today. Obviously, I'm not going to spend an hour on this. Probably a nice 45-minute podcast with you guys.
We probably
Four
will.
main
Short, sweet, to the
topics.
point. Yep.
Yep, 4 main topics, and the season starts Thursday, so we're all going to be going, and we're going to have a good time regardless. Just like me, at the Rangers preseason game, the Islander Ranger one, where the Islanders blew it with that AHL goalie in net, but we still had a good time. That's all that matters, and I hope they win on opening night. But it's going to be fun to see that first line in action.
Yeah, it's going to be fun regardless. I think we're all going to have a good time.
That was a pretty fun bachelor party. I was fucking wasted that day. I was absolutely wasted. I woke up feeling like a professional boxer, hit my head 5 times.
Ooh,
That's how I felt. Luckily, I didn't puke. Luckily,
at least you know you had a good time.
Had 3 more beers after the game. Went home by 1 a.m.
Nice.
All was well.
That's good.
But anyway,
that's good. I'm glad.
Anyway, speaking of, I cut my losses, lost some water weight. But speaking of cut, what the hell is going on with Pierre Engballs, man?
All right, who wants to start here? Because it seems like we all kind of agree that this is a net negative, but we all have a little bit different perspectives on it.
Mike and I gave our take on this. I want John's take now on this.
Yeah, no, John, I want you to lay it out for the show.
All right. So I'm thinking one of two things is happening. The first one, which we've seen before in Engballs' case, and we've seen before in Anthony Beauvillier's case, if you remember this from Barry Trotz, is that yes, I think what's happening here is Patrick Waugh plays a very specific style, and that specific style requires buy-in from the players, maximum effort, some physicality, some playing above your skates, if you will. And Pierre Engvall, for as good as he is on the puck, doesn't really do that. He's not a maximum effort guy. He's not really a full tilt, big physicality guy. He's a big dude. He can play a lot more physical. He just chooses not to. And I think that this bothers Patrick Waugh. And so I think he's trying to intentionally piss Pierre Engvall off to get more out of him because he sees a ceiling there he just hasn't really gotten to in his career. If you talk to Maple Leaf fans about Pierre Engvall, they'll give you a diatribe about how he's such a good hockey player physically. He has such good potential. He has speed. He's got hands. He has the body to be physical, and he's just not. And he just doesn't show up in the way you would expect him to. And I think Waugh sees that too. So he's trying to pull that out of him. That's my take on the whole situation.
I'll add to that by saying that's one side of it, and then the other side of it that I think John was going to mention is that there's cap implications here. Is that and also opportunity, because Simon Holmstrom, Oliver Wahlstrom, I think the only way you could financially fit Engvall back in is if you dropped Wahlstrom. Yes. And this is Wahlstrom's last shot at, I think, being an Islander. I mean, it's a 4th line opportunity, but he has to change his game if he's going to be an NHLer. Let's face it, the guy is just he's not a good skater. His shot is heavy. It's good, but it's heavy and it's slow. And he could be a nice option for like a power play too. So there is some value there on special teams. But
he's going to need to find a niche that's not just guy who shoots well.
Niche that isn't a top 6 player, because he's not. I mean, we've really seen enough to know he's not. So here's the deal there. Engvall makes $3 million. You cut Engvall. You have room for Wahlstrom and I think Gauthier and Holmstrom. 3 guys who basically are, I would just say, fillers. They're filler players. You know, we're going to see what Holmstrom can do on line 3, even though I thought Engvall was great on line 3. I guess they're going to hope Simon can have that same sort of magic and work with Pajot because of the penalty kill. And then with Wahlstrom, you hope for anything. Because if it doesn't work out, there's obviously, in my opinion, a very good chance we see Engvall in a couple of weeks. So
I agree. I think you're going to probably have that either way, if I'm being honest.
I mean, before I let Brandon have his point, I just the fan base online really hates Pierre Engvall, and I don't know. To me, if you're a player that's always pushing the puck the right direction with speed, and you're a big transition guy on a team that severely lacks possession and transition, you're a vital piece of the team. And I always saw Engvall that way. I mean, clearly fans don't. I think
the difficulty here is there are 2 kinds of players. For most hockey fans, there are 2 kinds of players. There is your talent guys and your lunch pail guys. And the talent guys are expected to score goals, put up flashy assists, be talented. The lunch pail guys are expected to be physical, have a good heavy forecheck, be like spark plugs. Pierre Engvall is kind of neither of these. We've seen the term cardio merchant be kind of portrayed a few times, and I feel like that's an unfair stipulation for him, like an unfair moniker, but it does work.
Because I would call him a spark plug, but I mean,
to me, he's like the midfielder. If you watch soccer, he's like a midfielder in that he helps with possession. He helps make everyone else's games easier, and he helps kind of spread the ice a little bit. He spreads the field to where it allows people who are more skilled to do what they want and make their jobs easier. That's something that you notice if you're looking for it. But if you're not, he's not doing any of the things that you want a hockey player to do. So what is he doing?
So my counter before I'm going to let Brandon speak is that I find it very strange how much this fan base cherishes a guy like Josh Bailey. And I feel like for most of Josh's
that's for personality reasons.
They didn't originally, fun fact.
No,
that's
I know,
entirely for personality reasons.
But I do think if Pierre Engvall had the leash that Josh Bailey did, he'd have more fans. I really do believe that. I think it's the fact that he's only been here for 2 years, and he does play a very soft game.
I think it's you're looking at Pierre Engvall, and you're missing everything that makes him and Josh Bailey. People don't like Josh Bailey because he's good. People like Josh Bailey because he's clutch in the playoffs and he's a Long Island guy and he's one of us.
I think Pierre Engvall was very good in the playoffs, and I think Lou even said that in his presser. So I just like I said, I think people are being. I respect people when they have an opinion that makes sense.
Clutch?
I think when people call him bad, I don't think they know what they're talking about. That's all.
I agree.
All right, Brandon, you can go now.
All right, so like I said, I'm not one to have a freaking Pierre Engvall jersey. I'll never get a Pierre Engvall jersey ever in my life. Even if he would ever hypothetically score a game winner in the Stanley Cup Finals, I'll still not get an Engvall jersey.
If he does that, I will.
No, I won't. No, I swear on my life, I will not do that.
Like Engvall, I'm not about to buy his jersey, but I like him.
Hey, Brandon, if I would all the haters at the parade, I want them to sign my jersey. All right, keep going.
But again,
keep going.
It was smart. So here's the thing with Engvall getting waived yesterday. It was smart when they waived him, as opposed to when they waived him. Opposed to when other teams were making waivers initially, because it's the end of the wire. Teams seem to finalize their rosters, literally by 5 o'clock today on day of recording.
Yeah, they were pretty confident that he wasn't going to get picked up.
And even though Engvall is not making really much money, it's only $3 million. People think it's such a big deal. Oh, you don't have 23 people on your roster now because you have Engvall's AHL cap. Like a big freaking whoop, dude. Someone could go on LTIR if someone has a major injury. Boom, call someone up, send them back down when the person gets healthy. It's not.
The Leafs
that
have been doing it forever. Am I wrong? And all the Leaf fans are the ones who commented, but they've been doing that forever,
they are.
right?
Yeah, they have been.
It's the same.
Listen. People saying, "Oh, it's a term. It's a term." Like, dude, it's $3 million freaking dollars. It's not like he's making 5 to 6. Like I'm serious though. Fans, you have way too high expectations for a player making $3 million.
Yeah, I know.
Put those same expectations with Anders Lee. The dude's making $7 million. And my fiance thinks he's hot as hell. I don't care. I don't care. The dude is
I think the
$7
fans
million.
do too.
What's up?
I think the fans do as well. That's why they like
him.
Dude, he puts up goals. Everyone, the fan base is going to love somebody who puts up almost 30 goals a year.
But he didn't come close to 30. He didn't come close to 30 last year.
Yeah, but he put up 20. That's still good.
Yeah, John, let me
not $7 million.
Let me break in here.
No, I agree it's not $7 million, but most fans don't see players in terms of cap hit. They see players in terms of, I like this guy.
No, but that's how you should be viewing players, though.
Yeah.
Your
expectations. This is the difference between like you and a casual fan, though. Everyone's going to love this. This is the thing with Josh Bailey too. Everyone's going to love Josh Bailey and Anders Lee because they're our guys.
Yeah.
Like listen, I don't hate
I agree.
Anders Lee. Good for him getting that type of deal. Like I am not hating Lee,
but he doesn't deserve it right now. But
right now,
you paid on past. You paid on past, essentially.
Wait. This is back to Engballs. This is back to Engballs because I'm going to keep this. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Knock this out in 30 seconds. The way I view players, the money that you make, assuming you're being put in proper position to succeed, take that. The amount of money that you make, you should have production to match it properly.
Sure.
Engballs is making $3 million. He is producing at a clip that is worthy of a $3 million UFA forward.
I agree.
You're playing semantics if it's not. I agree with you. Yeah.
Call out lack of physicality all you want. The gamble here behind this is that you're sacrificing one highly finesse player. Let's face it. He's not like, listen, I'm not saying Nick Paul is physical either. When he played for Tampa, Nick Paul, he still plays for Tampa, but he hits a little bit more than Engballs. One of the least physical players on the team, by the way. Like 20th in hits on the team the past 3 years.
Sure.
But Engballs hits a lot less than that. So I get that part. The gamble here in this is you're hoping to gain possession by committee with the coaching that you're enforcing, as opposed to what Lambert was doing. You're hoping that, but when you waived Engvall, that you're hoping, okay, Engvall is a great possession player by himself as a player. But what if I could coach these guys to drive possession? What if I could coach Holmstrom to drive play? What if I can do that with Sipakov as well?
It's going to be hard to do.
I'm not going to lie. I did see a post which was interesting in that when they switched from Lambert to Wah, the possession numbers got worse, but they got better. The team itself got better. I think there's with the system that he's trying to employ, they're trying to go from less of a possession-based model to more of a dump and chase model.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that.
I didn't really get dump and chase really against Carolina. Yes,
Let me clarify here, Brandon, real quick though.
I did not get that.
What line outside of the first line do you think can carry the puck?
I think the second line can. I think the second line can. What?
Who is carrying the puck on that line? Nelson?
Brock. Absolutely he can.
How has Nelson looked for the last 6 months?
Okay. I'm not comparing him to Matt Barzal or anything like that.
No, I'm just saying, how has he looked the last 6 months?
When he's not playing on the top line, okay. He shouldn't be on the top line. He's not a first line center. Bill Horvat is. Yes, he was put on the top line wing.
No, I think even on the second line, he looked pretty bad to end the season.
He was fine. He had 4 points in 5 games against the Hurricanes. He was fine. No,
there was a couple points there. I just didn't think he was playing well. I don't think points are the be all end all. I thought he was lazy. Honestly.
No, but I'm just saying regarding the expectations of what was expected. I mean, he also had to play with Hudson Fasching as his winger during the playoffs.
No, I get that. I know, but like I'm just.
Where's Hudson Fasching now?
Okay, I think I'm starting to understand the Engvall thing for you. And this might just be a mental. This might just be a difference in mentality. But would you rather somebody that puts up a lot of points and looks bad, or puts up no points and looks good?
I'd rather have a mixture of both.
No. Do you get one or the other in this scenario?
That's a
would you
really
rather
hard answer.
Would you rather somebody that is slow as shit, terrible possession numbers, terrible defensively, 30 goals, 30 assists, or
no, you need
would
to
you
expand
rather?
on this. There's not enough here. Because
how
much are they giving up? If Saplakov scores 30 goals and they give up 50 goals, I'd rather have Engvall.
John, what I'm saying is, if his numbers equal out to a +20 for the season,
oh yeah, then obviously,
but he looks dog shit.
That's the right move, then. Yeah,
but +20 is meaningless.
I'd rather say that line scored
in elite goaltending behind him too.
But see, this is the core of the problem. If somebody is +30, if somebody is +20 and they put up 30 goals and 30 assists, I don't care what they look like. They're a good hockey player.
Yeah, no, of course. My point with Engvall is I never was really looking at points with him. I was looking about what's happening on the ice.
You're right, but eventually it comes down to that. Like, there are certain...
Exactly. No, I agree with you. So if we see 2 to 3 months of the second line sucking, what do you think would happen?
They would have to put Engvall in there.
Up you go,
really?
Engvall.
You think they would?
Yeah.
Up you go Engvall, and down you go.
Listen, I'm not. I think the team will be good. I've never said otherwise. I do, but I just worry that
I'm not saying whether the team is going to be good or bad. I'm just saying that I understand your position right now, and it's just a difference in mentality from a lot of people. You would rather somebody look like a good hockey player and do all the little things than produce.
I'd rather you produce.
Well, because
I would like you to produce and drive play, though.
This team got closest to a Stanley Cup by doing the little things and playing the right way. And
producing.
In the playoffs. I wouldn't say in the regular season that was their bread.
You got to get there.
During the playoffs, they were the second highest scoring team behind Tampa.
But they spent the regular season playing the right way, doing the right things to make sure they were in a position to succeed. So
that's a really, really, really hard way to play, and you need buy-in from everyone, including the goalie.
Sure, but I don't think Waz style is going to be easy to play either.
Sure.
I think it's going to be easier.
Sure, it may be easier, but these guys are not going to be a team that's going to be able to take a couple nights off because they're not going to be scoring a lot of goals. I might be wrong, but
to the people who are saying like, "Oh, the system's hard to play. It's such a hard grinding system." You know what it makes me do?
No,
that's the violent sound. Because you know what? You're getting paid millions of dollars. All right, roll the F up and do your job.
No, my point is they're not going to be playing like the Habs or the Leafs or the
Brandon.
They're going to be playing with smart structure. And what's wrong
Brandon?
with that?
It's not that. It's that you need to be like people need to be realistic with their expectations.
Sure, but I'm saying like regarding structure, though, you can't say, "Oh, the structure is so hard to play." Give me a fucking break.
I want to bring this up because we're getting a little off track, and I just want to say,
let's talk about Saplakov now.
No, before we get to that, I just want to mention I didn't put it in. I don't know why. Obviously, we all love Duclair here. I think it's a really good ad for the first line.
Yeah, no, we're all in agreement. It's great.
I did warn people though. I think it's very telling that after the second game they were very transparent, even publicly to us, that Wah had to sit down with Duclair because a lot of the reasons people don't like Engvall are the type of stuff Duclair would get away with on other teams. He's the type of guy to blow the zone, not a physical player. Really, someone told me he was a physical player on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't think you've ever watched Anthony Duclair.
He's not a physical player, but the thing is, he puts up goals. He scores.
That's exactly. It's speed and goals, and I love that. Don't get me wrong, but I think people think he's a player that he's not, and I hope their expectations are reasonable because I see the guy like on a 25-goal season, and we're all very happy. But my
expectation right now is 25-25, but my hope is closer to 30-20.
It'd be great, but like I said, he's a $3.5 million player. I'm not expecting the world out of him, and I think people need to temper their expectations because he's going to go 10 games without a goal, and you can't give up on him. Just my opinion. All right, so we'll move on to thoughts on.
You know,
of course.
That's fans. It's going to happen no matter what.
The Engballs thing really bothers me because I thought he played so well in the playoffs, and they're willing to compliment Anders Lee. They're willing to compliment JG Pajot, but we move over to Pierre Engvall, and it's like good riddance. And it's like he might be back on the team. Like, shouldn't you
listen? People did the same with Horvat after the Islanders traded for him 2 years ago.
No, you're right.
Oh, dude, Hudson Fasching played better than Bo Horvat. Give me a freaking break, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I was 2.5%. That was not going to be sustainable.
It's expectations versus contract. I get it, but fans are just dumb.
People were very, very harsh on the Engvall move, and I get it. They don't like the way he plays, but I think he'll be back. So, all right,
I'm sure he'll be back.
Thoughts on Soplakov? I mean, I feel like I should let you guys mostly talk about this one because I've openly said it. I have not been very impressed with him. I kind of was expecting the Paul Cotter experience, and I didn't get it, or the Bobby McMahon experience. And I know it's just preseason, so I'm trying to temper my expectations and be realistic. If Soplakov comes out in game 1 and is flying, I was wrong. But he looks kind of slow out there, and it does concern me that we're putting him with 2 other guys who have lost their foot speed. I know Nelson is a
doesn't bother me.
Nelson's a deceptively fast player, though. I don't want to count him out as slow because when he turns on the jets, he flies. And Paul Mary's kind of the same way, although I can definitely see his step has been lost the last couple of years. He still works his ass off, don't get me wrong, but I need Soplakov to prove me wrong. That's what I'm asking for, and you guys can tell me what you've seen out of him so far.
The best comparison I can give you, Mike, is Anders Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. It's essentially the same guy. He skate. But I will say this though, he skates stronger than Anders Lee does right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be fair to the guy.
That ACL is still a problem.
I know. I'm saying like he's willing to throw the body along the boards. He's willing to establish a forecheck along the boards and in the neutral zone too. I actually went to the preseason game last Monday against the Flyers, and I don't see. Listen, I'll tell you this much: he skates faster than Keeper Bellows.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
No,
that's not really saying much.
I had these scouting reports after watching him in the KHL, and he looks so much faster there than he does here. And I wonder if that's a space thing or just
it's dealing with slower hockey players thing.
Yeah, but probably a deceptive speed that he had in the KHL because he got here, and I'm like. He kind of skates like Paul Mary does. I don't really see
if he played in the AHL right now, you would watch him and go, man, that guy has wheels. Because he would be faster than a lot of the people in the AHL because they're not hockey players. They're not pro hockey players.
I got scouting reports that said he was actually quite a fast player, and he seems like more of a power skater than he does a quick skater. It's not like he builds it up.
He skates more with power though.
Yeah.
His game was fine, and Mike, he's probably not going to come flying out of the gate right away, though.
Yeah, I know.
He might have a few like quote unquote sluggish games to public guy, but he's never played a single regular season NHL game before. So, the expectations.
Temper the expectations.
Please, like we're doing with other players, like Duclair, temper your expectations for now. Let him pick it up a bit. I mean, on the power play, he actually looks like he's in the zone. He actually isn't afraid to stand behind the net or in front of the net, like Anders Lee does.
Yeah, and actually, better than Lee does. Lee was
provides screen. I wouldn't say better than Lee. Lee was the man back in 17-18.
I'm talking about Lee now. But before we let John just give his opinion on Soplakov, I want to say just to remind you guys, we have the 10-game rule here, and I think we always apply that rule. Where you give the team 10 games before you have seriously I don't want to say like something awful, but like
serious takes. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, you know what I mean, like crazy psychotic takes. I don't want to use something like offensive, but like you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna die, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to overreact, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure we're gonna have some overreactions by game 5 or 6 from just us, but I mean you got to give the team the 10-game rule. Every team in October is not the team in November, December, January, February. That's not that team. The Oilers could start off 0-10. They're still going to make the playoffs. I'm not even worried about it.
And on top of that, they're going to have a couple weeks off in February because of the Olympics.
Yeah, so
that's true.
But I'm just saying, give them the 10-game spread before you have a major opinion about them. If Sorokin starts off slow, it's okay. You know he's coming back from injury. Got to give him a couple games. All right, John. So your opinion on Soplakov?
On top of that, I would say give the penalty kill 20 games.
I'm giving them 10. I'm giving them 10.
No, you got to work in a new system, man. They're not playing the freaking diamond anymore. You got to give them more than 10 games.
All right, John.
I'm in Brandon's camp. I think that he is a mixture of old and new Anders Lee. He's kind of like the midpoint between pre-ACL and post-ACL for Anders Lee, where he's not really as fast or as good of a shooter as he was in maybe 16, 17, 17, 18, but he's better than Anders Lee is currently right now. I think he's a really good net front presence. I think that he's shifty. He works in that bumper spot in the power play really well, like behind the net. I really like his hands. I think he's got a good shot. Not the fastest guy in the world. He's physical, which I like. He's got a good forecheck. He's not like going to shy away from contact. So in that way, he's like Anders Lee as well. I think a lot of people also have to remember that we got this guy for free. You didn't trade anything to get him. You didn't give away any draft picks or anything like that. This is literally someone that you just picked up. So anything he does is an improvement on what was there previously.
I will say he does look better than Michael Del Cole ever did.
Yes, I mean, dude, Mike, come on.
If he scores 25 goals and pots like 20 assists or something, that's 45 more points than you had before. It's good.
Yeah.
I will say, though, in the second line role, I do expect a little bit more than that. I mean, I understand we're doing salary comparisons here, but we need our second line to kind of put up the 25 goal, in my opinion, sort of thing. At least two of them, right? Two of those guys need to score 25 goals.
I think Soplakov is going to hit that 25 goal plateau.
I don't think he will, but
I think he'll get more assists than goals because Nelson.
Yeah, me too.
Bulk of the scoring.
Unless
no, I think he's gonna get. He's gonna get a lot of the power play tipping goals, like the net front goals.
Okay, I was hoping in the preseason to get a taste of it because I know Barzal was going at like 25%, and the guy still had 9 points. So I mean, I was kind of expecting like a couple goals from Soplakov, a couple goals from Nelson. I didn't see that either.
Even though it didn't show up on the score sheet, I would say Soplakov caused like 5 goals easily.
Well, yeah, it was on the power play too, which helped. I mean, but. I don't know. Like I said, my expectations were maybe actually a little too high.
They happened like solely because of him.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying my expectations I think were a little too high on the guy when we first talked about him compared to when I got to see him in North America. I'm like, okay, I think he's going to take a while if he does, become a full-time top 6 NHLer.
Well, hopefully he will not be like Gusev.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do get worried.
I think right now he's obviously better than Gusev. Like what we've seen is better than Gusev.
We have to see. A lot of these guys don't work out. But like I said, keep your optimism high. Like I said, I was excited for him in the beginning. I just was expecting a little bit more in preseason. But I mean, I was expecting more from Nelson in preseason too, and he looked like
fair.
So. I mean, I don't know.
And so did Dobson. He's not going to look like that over the course of the regular season.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is. I think my expectations are all out of whack because I watched Barzal go 25% and just kill everyone in the preseason. But I mean, and it's Barzal, so the expectations.
Well, I think the problem there is he finally has people that can keep up with him. Yeah. So this is going to be what he's going to be like this season.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a taste of what he actually would have been years ago. This year. So, all right, we'll move on, though. Thoughts on where the team finishes?
Me?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, so... Where do they finish? Regular season or, like, where the journey ends?
No, let's just do regular season predictions. We'll get closer to the playoffs if they make it.
Okay. So, regular season, I have them finishing second in the Metro. But you finished third in the Metro. Your players are all. Okay, listen.
I like the positivity.
Okay. Come at me all you want. The Rangers are winning the Metropolitan Division. Sorry, Igor Shesterkin's the man. They still have Jonathan Quick. You added sneaky addition of Riley Smith. He should be okay for their middle 6 as well.
I don't like Riley Smith at this age, but
you still. I mean, he should give you some depth in that regard. God forbid Heedle gets hurt again.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean,
he will. I hate it. It sucks. He absolutely will.
He's a great player, though.
Again, it's unfortunate, though. It's unfortunate, but I don't think the Metro. Listen, I get the Devils have some depth on their team. You got Sheldon Keefe as your coach. I need to see it to believe it. I do think they'll make the playoffs. I don't have them right now finishing in a metropolitan spot. I have the Islanders finishing second because I think a lot of their problems for last year are going to get solved mostly by system. Some parts won't, but a lot of parts will. I have Carolina still finishing right below us in the regular season because they'll start off very slow. They'll turn on the Jets because of the Rob Brindamore philosophy. They'll have a full year of Freddie Anderson in the fold. So that'll offset some of the depth that they lost during the offseason. But for now, I have the Islanders finishing number 2 in the Metro. Again, if you have a boatload of key injuries, like Barzell and Horvat are injured for the year.
We're not.
That's a thing. No matter what,
if you factor,
need to be said.
If you tried to factor that in, you'd have a headache. Every team has different injuries every year.
No, I'm saying
it's a thing. No matter what,
on the toilet.
Yeah, that's any team though. Most teams do not do well with major injuries. It's rare when you have a Pittsburgh with half their team that make the playoffs. Like that's not normal. All right, John, you can go next.
Okay. I have them finishing third in the Metro. I have the Rangers first, Carolina second, and the Islanders third, Devils fourth. I think that they're good enough to make the playoffs. I think they're probably going to be closer to Carolina than they were last year. But I still think that Carolina is a better possession team and they're a better overall hockey team. So they're probably going to be ahead of us. The one thing that I think is a major wild card this year is Shesterkin. I think the Rangers are going to do really well, but I could see that ship going down very easily if the contract talks become an issue and he gets in his own head because the fans get more and more upset with him because he's having a bad stretch and he's obviously not worth $12 million at that point to everyone in Ranger Nation. I don't think most people think he's worth $12 million now, but he seems pretty staunch.
He absolutely is worth $12 million now. He absolutely is worth $12 million now. 100%.
I think he's probably worth 11, but he is staunch that he is going to get paid. And a lot of Rangers brass seem staunch that they are not going to pay him that kind of money. So there is going to be a standoff, and that causes a lot of tension, a lot of bad vibes, and that can ruin a season. So they're kind of walking on a tightrope right now. I see them doing well, but if that goes south, it can crater their whole season.
Gotcha.
I mean, if anything, they're still going to boo Trouba no matter what.
So I'll follow this up with a question.
I don't know about that.
I'll follow this up with a question for you guys because I thought it would be really fascinating to see what you guys think. But I have the Islanders fourth, which I think is what I had them last year.
Sure.
But I do see them finishing actually with more points. I just think the Metro's better than people actually give them credit for. Actually, I think the bottom is actually worse this year. And
I agree.
The higher end teams are actually a little bit better. I mean, even Washington, I think, did improve, although I don't have them making the playoffs.
Washington improved defensively. I just think offensively, I don't see anybody on that team that is really, scares me.
Sonny Milano.
No.
Is Charlie Unger going to stand on his head throughout the last 4 weeks of the season?
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening again. So, but here's my picks. I have the Devils finishing first. Not really surprised. I'm huge on that team, and when they get healthy, I think they're going to be scary. I have the Rangers.
Okay. Will be healthy though?
We'll find out. That's the
do you think a Sheldon Keefe coach defense with those kinds of players is going to actually be good enough?
I think so. Healthy Dougie Hamilton to me is a big difference. Okay. I also see Simon Nemec taking another step. And I feel like I'm biased doing the ranking now because I got to watch Seamus Casey, and I think he's legit. I think the Devils actually have a really, really good group of young guys. And I don't know, it's just my opinion. I'm sure other people don't have.
I think you might have gotten swept up in them knocking off a terrible Sabres team.
Listen, I still love what I'm seeing out of some of their defense. So I'm not going to be it. I've always thought very highly of them. I I had them third in the league last year, and then they got killed injury wise. And the Devils first. They have the Rangers second. What I saw in person from them, there's no doubt in my mind they're still an elite passing team. I think their defense does give me a little bit of worry, but offensively, man, that team is good. There's no denying it. They're one of the best teams offensively, probably in the league.
5-on-5.
Well, special teams wise, I think they're actually going to be better 5-on-5 this year. I do, but that's why I have them second. If I didn't, I wouldn't have put them second. And then third, I have Carolina. I still think it's Carolina with a great system. I love Jarvis. I love Svechnikov. I love their first line if they roll it out that way. Their center depth sucks, but they've got, in my opinion, they still got a good decor.
What they have after the first line though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not deep down the middle.
You don't have Jesper Fast. You don't have Jesper Fast. You have Kotkaniemi centering your second line.
Listen, I think Netchus is really good. I'm not gonna lie. I think their bottom
He's good,
six,
but who's centering him?
I think their bottom six is sus, but I also think the Islanders' bottom six is sus. So that doesn't really change anything for me. And then I have the Islanders fourth, and I think that's a compliment to them because I do have them finishing with more points than last year. So
do they make the playoffs in the fourth seed to you?
Yeah, no, of course. Listen, I think
they might not, because you might have like 5 coming out of the Atlantic.
I would have to look at what I have. I kind of just had them making playoffs fourth because that's normally what happens. Usually don't have 5 teams finishing. I don't think that's normal, at least. It's usually 4 to 4,
it
right?
depends.
Yeah, it depends. But listen, I'm very high on Ottawa this year, but I still think the Islanders will make the playoffs. I will say this though. I want to hear what you guys think could be a surprise in the Metro. For me, it's the Philadelphia Flyers. I really like what that team did last year, and I think they just had a really bad end to the season that made them miss the playoffs. But Torts runs a really tight ship over there. I'm really excited about this Michkov kid that me and John drafted in our fantasy league. I love him. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think he's going to put up like 60 points, potentially be a Calder pick, just like Celebrini. And, they got guys like Tyson Forster and Bobby Brink, a lot of hardworking players that I like watching. So Philly, to me, might – what's up?
Luchenko.
Yeah. Oh, Jet.
Yeah, he made the team.
That's exciting, right? So I think the Flyers are an up-and-coming team. I think they still have a long way to go. Their defense is still kind of beans. But me and John have Travis Sanheim, so I'm rooting for them.
The Flyers, to me, feel like the Ottawa Senators in that they're a very fun team, but I don't think they're a very good team.
I mean, I think with Torts, they're going to be less fun than the Senators, but I do think they're exciting in the sense.
See, I don't know because Torts. Listen, Torts gets a bad reputation, but if you do everything you're supposed to do on the back end, he lets you play fun hockey. He let that team do whatever the hell they wanted. He loved them.
They did struggle to score goals a lot last year, though. So, I mean, they have a lot of steps forward they have to take to become a good team. But like I said, they would be my surprise. What are your guys' surprises at in the Metro before we move on to the last point?
Let John go because I'm.
Yeah, do you have a team outside of your top 4 that you think could be interesting?
Yeah, I do.
Well, John,
not really. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think Washington is going to be fine. I think Pittsburgh takes a big drop off. Columbus,
I think we all do.
No comment. They're just in a terrible situation, and I would rather not talk about how well they're going to do.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do anything really, but
I'd rather just
we're rooting for them
from that entirely. 100%. But I don't want to make any Blue Jackets fans feel worse, so I'd rather just move on from them entirely.
I will say if they make the playoffs and we don't, I'd be rooting for them. So
I think the whole league would be rooting for them if they made the playoffs.
So,
but I don't. The Metro seems pretty predictable this year, to be honest. You have 4 good teams, and the rest are not so good. 4 not good teams, and I don't know.
Brandon, do you have a team other than my Flyers that you think are interesting?
Yeah, it's a team that you don't want to talk about. The Blue Jackets.
I thought he was going to say the Minnesota Wild.
Nope.
Okay.
I thought he was going to say the Minnesota Wild. I'm talking about the Metro, Brandon.
Please sell me on the Blue Jackets.
Okay. Dean Evison. End of story. I am a huge Dean Evison fan.
I like Dean, but do you think they have the players to make it work?
I got to see their
depth. Did people think about that with the Islanders back in 2018-19? people thought we were going to finish in last place.
You're right, but they had but the hindsight shows they had the players to make it work. They just weren't being utilized correctly.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm too big on like Ivan Provorov or
Damon
Severson. The situation with the Islanders, hindsight has shown they were good players. They just weren't looked at in the right light. Do you think that same situation is happening in Columbus, where they have guys, we're just not seeing them 100%. Being put in positions to succeed?
100%.
Okay.
100%. And they'll be playing with a lot of emotion this year. You got to factor that in as well. So they're gonna be playing with a lot of emotion. They're gonna have a fire lit under their ass by Dean Evison.
Yeah, I agree.
You have some decent people defensively. You have Werenski, you have Davidson, and you have Harris in the fold as well. You have another year of Fantilli taking another step as well in the forward group. You have JVR.
They have a lot of young forwards. I like
JVR, who was okay in Boston. He was fine. Columbus scooped him up. They scooped up Sean Monahan. Kent Johnson's hurt for quite a while, but they got some depth over there. They got some structure. They did sign Kevin LeBlanc as well to offset some of those IR issues. I actually think the Blue Jackets, they're not making the playoffs, obviously. I think, though, this year they're going to make a lot of games ugly. They're going to make a lot of games ugly for the opposition. The opposition, you're going to think like, oh, we should be dominating this team. We should be dominating this team. I go, nope, they're just Dean Evison. He's just going to make them hit you and hit you and hit you because that's exactly the way he coached with the Minnesota Wild. And that's exactly, based on what I've seen in preseason with Columbus, that's exactly what he's going to do with the Blue Jackets. 100%.
For me, the way their team is built, like I said, you're kind of interested in the system and how that gets them forward. But to me, they're built a lot like Chicago or San Jose. I mean, I think their top six would be a middle six on a playoff team.
Their decor is miles better than Chicago's. Are you kidding?
No,
me? Seth Jones on the top there. Come on, man.
I agree. I don't like Seth Jones at all.
Actually, I think he was on their second pair during his last two preseason games. That could change.
I don't think their defense is that good, though. I thought Severson was kind of bad last year, and
But again, who was coaching the team?
I get it. And Werenski has trouble staying healthy, which is kind of my concern there. I mean, if he gets hurt, I don't even think the Blue Jackets are have a chance in hell. But whatever. I mean, it depends on health. If they can all stay healthy, maybe they'll be decent this year.
I mean, look at the way the Islanders had their 2018-19 season. I mean, you had a line of Fritz, Filppula, and Komarov, and you had the old fourth line. Finally showing their age.
Wasn't that the first year where Pelech and Pulak broke out, though? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was when they broke out. But, okay, the previous year with Adam Pelech, though, underway, people wanted him gone. People hated the 4-year deal of $1.6 million. People think he was nothing more than a depth player.
I get it. I just don't see the guys on the Blue Jackets blue line who have, that breakout capability, especially because Werenski's already great. I don't think they'll score. I don't think they'll score a bunch, but I think they're going to give up a lot less goals because they're going to play with structure. Well, it's hard. They were pretty bad last year, right? So I mean, it's hard to be worse than last year.
But again, I'm more sold on Dean Evison than most people are.
All right, so Philly Blue Jackets. John doesn't care.
No, it's not that I don't care. It's that I just
will be worse.
I don't see anybody making that big of a jump. Let's just say that.
Well, I think the Flyers were actually decent last year, so. Maybe not a big jump. I just think they'll play better, I guess is the
okay. Yeah, if we're just saying they'll play marginally better, yeah, I'll go with the Flyers as well. Sure.
Yeah. Cool. 2 Flyers picks. All right. So our last thing before we let you go, Brandon, because I know you got to go. Our pick for MVP next year. My camera's
let John go first.
My head is telling me it has to be Barzal, but my heart is telling me Sorokin.
Yeah. For Islanders MVP, by the way. I don't know if I clarified that with Brandon.
With the amount of odd man rushes that Barzy is going to get and the help around him, he's going to have a breakout year. There's no way around it. He's going to have his best year since probably his first 2 in the league, and he's going to look like a stud.
You said Barzal or Sorokin? I thought you said Sorokin.
No, I'm saying my head is telling me Barzal. That's why. But my heart is telling me I want it to be Sorokin after the poor year that he had and the back injury and everything. I could see Like, I could see now him coming back and just carrying.
So who's your backup pick? Who's your actual pick?
Me, actual pick Barzal, backup Sorokin.
Okay. All right. No, I gotcha. All right. Let's go, Brandon.
It's Barzal.
Yeah.
I think this. I said this actually last week. I think this, assuming he stays healthy for 99% of the season, this could be the year that he breaks 100 points.
Yeah.
And your backup MVP?
I think I have him as a team MVP. I don't think
it doesn't have to be most points, by the way, guys. It's who you
no,
think.
But I think he's physically going to be the best player on this team by a country
mile. It's not even just the points part. It's about driving play.
Yeah.
I think Barzal will be the team MVP in that regard. And I think because you're going to have speeds around him, I'm not saying Duclair is going to be like a 60-point guy either. I think he'll get like 50 max, but the speed that he brings will actually take the edge off of Barzal's 5-on-5 game. And then it turned out to open up Horvat's game. So Barzal will be collecting a lot more assists, a few more goals. And as a result, you're going to get some more power play opportunities. He'll bank up some more power play points that way. And as a result of him being able to do all this, finally with a fully competent first line, even though I don't think Duclair's a top line talent, I think that he will get 100 points. I think he will get 100 points.
I can't remember who I picked last year. I thought it was Brock, but I think that was the year before.
It was the year before.
Who was my pick last year? I can't remember.
No, I'm not sure.
In hindsight, I would have to go with Varlamov. I thought he was an absolute stud in the watch.
Sure, I agree, yeah.
And, I mean, listen, I still think Sorokin was a big part of them making the playoffs, but, I mean, Varlamov was, at the end, he was what really pushed them in.
Yep.
With a couple other guys. But I think but for this year, I'm thinking it's going to be Bo Horvat, actually, because I love what I've seen in preseason. If he does that the whole year, he's going to score 40 goals. It's going to be a great year.
Interesting. So, I mean, all right, I can see it.
I would love a 40-goal Bo Horvat season. And if he does that with Barzal, because Barzal's going to get 90 points if he gets that 40-goal season, I mean, people are going to think Barzal, but I think Bo Horvat, if he's going to be the big goal guy, I think he should get his flowers. Just like when I gave Nelson MVP. But my backup pick is also interesting, as it's actually it's probably Anthony Duclair. I think Anthony Duclair could actually be like a 30-35 goal guy if that first line clicks. So that's an interesting backup. I didn't mention Sorokin and I didn't mention Varlamov because I think they'll be okay next year. I don't think they're going to be great, but I mean, who knows? You know, could be Sorokin, like you said, John. We'll see. But my pick's Horvat. Brandon's pick is Barzal, and your pick is Barzal, which is, I guess, we're all first line guys. But who knows? Could be Kyle McLean. Kyle McLean being the MVP would be fun if it is. 20 goal season from Kyle McLean on the fourth line.
I agree.
All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up because I know you got to go, Brandon.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
He loves this. See, he just wants to keep going.
No, we're good. We pretty much hit all the points.
We got everything we wanted to.
St. Louis Blues.
Oh Lord! All right.
All right, now I'm hanging up.
It's a perfect call to end on. Good night, guys. Take care.
All right. Good night.
Set sail.
That was a good one.